We believed that we could build a new world without borders, wars, and violence.
Peace, progress, prosperity. But what lies behind these bright slogans?
Resistance. Confederation. Your war will never end.
Because the truth is on our side.
Out of all the military campaigns of the Confederation Resistance War, few were as influential as the Libyan nuclear flashpoint and the space program. Two events that saw new technologies, the escalation of the conflict as a whole, and death of countless lives. It all started in the early 2030s when the Confederation Senate decided to destroy all nuclear warheads in the world as part of the world disarmament. However, due to a bureaucratic error, the warheads from the Libyan nuclear program not only remained undestroyed but were protected by Confederation forces and safely secured inside bunkers located in Tripoli. The resistance eventually became aware of these bunkers, and almost immediately after they discovered the bunkers, the resistance immediately went to capturing the warheads. Although the bunkers were so heavily fortified that there were energy shield generators stationed there, that at this stage of the war, the only other ones in the world were the ones at the Niata Scientific Complex, so the Confederation was not willing to give the warheads easily. However, despite the strong defense installed in front of the bunkers, the resistance was still able to capture the bunkers and quickly take some of the warheads. Eventually, the Confederation realized that nukes slipped right by them and used the base in the area to launch a staging point to recapture the warheads. But the nearby army was occupied with the invasion of a Nigerian sector, so the recapture of the warheads was delayed. But finally, after the arrival of an assault group and a squad of fighters that were redeployed from a base in Tunisia, the bunkers were swiftly captured. However, after proper investigation, it was revealed that the warheads were removed long before the army's intervention. This discovery threw the Senate into a red alert, and all nearby military units were thrown into overdrive, ready to be deployed at a hair trigger. Confederation Central Command ordered all nearby garrisoned units to hunt a column that was believed to contain the warheads, and in doing so destroyed half of it before it was able to squeeze past a blockaded checkpoint, forcing Confederation forces to keep hacking units at the blockade, which resulted in heavy casualties for the attackers. However, it was revealed that the column was actually a distraction set by General Jose Monteros, and that the actual nuclear samples were secured days before, and that it was simply a feint to destroy the nearby garrisons and make expand their territory. As part of the Red Alert, Central Command authorized the assault of a resistance naval base in Tobruk on the slight chance that the resistance might arm their submarines with nuclear missiles. After the swift destruction of the base, it was revealed that the resistance was planning to use the Suez Canal to sneak their submarines into the Mediterranean, where they could then begin the firing of nuclear missiles into European cities. After a long-fought battle, Confederation troops were able to seize the canal, which allowed the Corps of Engineers to begin construction on the canal's defense, and despite multiple attacks on the site, it was able to hold effectively, sealing off the route to the resistance. Meanwhile, resistance forces launch a mission to capture a lab in Minnesota currently working on the space program, a clandestine initiative developed by the Center for Space Exploration to launch a network of satellites with thermoelectric weapons able to strike anywhere on the planet. However, the program was put into jeopardy, as the program would surely fail if the lab remained in rebel hands. So Confederation Army forces launch a mission to recapture the laboratory, although it was revealed that rebel gangs were evacuating unknown cargo from a nearby village. After Confederation troops recaptured the facility, it was no surprise to find that the lab was looted, and the staff were nowhere to be found. However, the staff lived in the same village the cargo was evacuated from, and after finding contradictions in the documents found from the lab, the Confederation Security Service begins an investigation into the lab staff and pinpointed their location to a small hamlet in Idaho. After the Army stormed the town and its surrounding outposts, the Army evacuated the scientists using an abandoned transport. However, they were only able to deliver 2/3 of the missing lab staff to the security service, and there were no leaders or deputies among the evacuated. And to make matters worse, the head of the staff had become a renegade and joined the resistance, but the rest of the operation has been classified by the security service. Army forces were then ordered by Central Command to seize warehouses containing resources related to the space program that were captured by rebels. After the successful capture of the warehouses, an inquiry into their stocks revealed that they were empty. However, this was a matter that was handled further by the security service. In an unexpected twist of events, the resistance completes a campaign to disrupt the Confederation's secret facilities hidden away in the snows of Alaska, free from the prying eye of the public and press. These raids prompted the sitting Minister of War, Joseph Hayne, to sanction the seizure of a port complex lost during the initial global uprisings to act as a gateway for troops and resources. After a heavy naval task force of the Confederation's Second Fleet liquidated one of the coastal bases near the port, the Confederation Army was able to conduct a naval landing and establish a base, allowing them to clear the remaining resistance forces in the sector, and with the port secured, hundreds of Confederation troops and millions worth of resources flooded western Alaska. With sufficient military power in the region, the Confederation Peacekeeping Corps set its sights on recapturing facilities for the space program, starting with the Desolate Bay Lab. An advance party was able to capture the poorly guarded lab ahead of time, and despite heavy strikes from resistance forces, the advance team properly secured the lab and a nearby terminal long enough for reinforcements to arrive and destroy the resistance base, allowing for specialists from the Center for Space Exploration to rebuild the lab. After the success of Desolate Bay, the Confederation Army marched upwards to northern Alaska, where multiple ground stations that were needed for the positioning of satellites that were captured by rebels were located. Soon afterwards, the station's defenses fell, and the space program would continue development without a hitch. Months afterwards, the Peacekeeping Corps would begin an investigation into the fate of the nuclear samples taken from Libya using high-tech scanner equipment, and a small strike force to not attract attention from the rebels. Once the equipment was discovered, the resistance made every effort to destroy it to no avail, and it was able to safely report its findings about the warheads being transported through Sudan. However, all documentation was handed over to the Confederation Special Forces, an elite unit reporting directly to CENTCOM. After some time, they identified a village in Sudan as their target, and aerial intelligence confirmed the existence of a warehouse or transshipment point. A local army company was tasked with capturing the village and allowing the Special Forces unit to investigate the warehouses. Discovering the resistance planned to arm missiles with warheads, increasing the priority level even higher. Analysts from Special Forces calculated a route to a hub where the warheads were being shipped. After the convoy carrying the warheads was destroyed, Central Command was able to locate the destination point for the warheads to be a heavily guarded test site located in the desert. The site had hundreds of technicians working on the two main missile silos present at the site. After a base was established near the site, things seemed to be running smoothly until satellite imagery detected missiles being launched at the base. Some personnel were able to evacuate, but most were lost to the missile, which completely depleted manpower to destroy the silos. However, thanks to the intervention of the Confederation Air Force, a squadron of fighters was able to liquidate the launchers before a second strike could happen. Despite the destruction of the launchers, the Confederation was unable to prevent the use of nuclear weapons, which put the already on-edge Central Command into overdrive. This was, however, the perfect justification for the space program, which was almost completed by this point, and with the red danger level declared by the Senate. The first combat test of the space system was authorized on an insurrectionist base that had proven unassailable, and once construction of the weapon was over, the base was swiftly annihilated, meaning the space program was in full effect. A few weeks after the initiative's full launch, satellites detected missile launches from a resistance base in Madagascar, and despite the limited range of the launcher, it still posed a strong risk to Confederation forces in the region. So after the Confederation Fifth Fleet blockaded the area and Army troopers and vehicles landed, the codes for the space system were given to an unnamed commander, who was ordered the destruction of the rebel base by any means necessary. And even though the missiles were locked on the base's location, the silos alongside with nuclear component stocks were obliterated, opening the base up from prompt destruction, and as such, ending the Libyan missile crisis and any serious threat to Western Europe along with it. Despite being such a major turning point in the war, it is an event viewed with a certain air of mystery, and it was never officially leaked to the press. Regardless of the secrecy around it, it remains the most important incident in the conflict.